All right, so we have been surprised once. Well, I mean, I wasn't really surprised, but we have been shown some great Counter-Strike once by EnVyUs over towards the CT side of Train, where they were able to dominate Astralis in such a convincing fashion despite being down 11-4, and I have to commend them for showing the mental fortitude that they did. Although I did predict that EnVyUs would be able to take that map off of Astralis, I did not actually think that it would be in the fashion that it was, where Astralis was able to take the lead 11-4, and Envy, despite that, were able to persevere and grind out the rounds. Very surprising for me personally, but enough about Train. We're moving forward in towards Inferno, and this is a map which I find very interesting for a few different reasons. Now, first of all the numbers that I'm going to be talking are going to be taken from the past month. I'm not going to be going back before a month. Secondly, Inferno is a map that is banned out very consistently up against Astralis, because Astralis is supposed to be one of the best teams in the world at playing it currently, and in the current state that it is. It's also a map where there's still a lot of experimentation to be done, and there's still a lot of different ways for the metagame to be defined before the major actually comes around. Now, taking a look at some of the statistics, I find it very interesting that Envy actually let Inferno pass through. While Envy has a few players which were legendary Inferno players back in the day, but that was a very long time ago. That was back late 2015, early 2016, if I remember correctly. Now, Envy's actually only won a single map from Inferno in the past month, and that map was off of LDLC, and they won that in a 16-12 fashion. Now, the problem with that is, first of all, LDLC is not really even a tier 2 team. I would say I would say they're very close to being a tier, the tier 2 team is very difficult to define, but I don't think that they're a team that would be favorites in a major qualifier, so to speak. Now, the reason why I bring this up is, despite that, it's a 16-12 victory. EnVyUs was not very, very convincing, did not really dominate them by any stretch of the imaginations. And if you compare that towards all of their losses, they've actually been incredibly one-sided, with their worst loss being to Fnatic in a 16-3 situation, despite them actually taking quite a few maps off of Fnatic when it came to Train, the previous map that we were actually watching. So evidently, EnVyUs is not very comfortable on Inferno. Despite that, they didn't actually ban that one out from the pool, which I find very interesting, and I find very telling of the situation that they're in. And I'm hoping that they have something up their sleeves. Now, if you compare that towards Astralis, surprisingly enough, Astralis, despite being as good as they are, they don't really have as great of a record as you would expect from them. They've played 7 maps of Inferno in the past month, and out of those 7, they've actually lost out 3 of them, the most recent of which was actually at IEM Sydney, where they lost 16-12 to SK. Not a team that you would really expect them to be losing out to ever on any map, let alone Inferno, which is one of their best maps. Now, if you compare that towards, if you look at towards their other 2 losses, one is to FaZe, which is understandable in itself. FaZe definitely probably the second best team in the world right now. And even that went to overtime, and Astralis actually took 17 rounds in that, and FaZe won in 19-17 fashion. Then the second one that Astralis actually lost out was to North, another team that can definitely be said that has its mark on the tier 1 scene and has the potential to be the dark horse at any tournament at all. And even that was also in overtime, where Astralis lost out 19-16. So keeping all of that in mind, and keeping in mind how EnVyUs has been performing recently, which is a little bit lackluster on the T side in just generally every single map because of some coordination problems that they seem to be having, keeping in mind all of those, it really does seem to be a case closed for me, as Astralis should be taking this one convincingly. Now, the question is, does EnVyUs have anything prepared for this map to be able to potentially cause an upset, which is why they're actually going for this map in such a crucial series, where they have got their top 6 lives on the line. And we need to remember that now that Fnatic has actually beaten Mousesports, the only way EnVyUs can actually maintain their possibility of going into top 6 is by beating Astralis right here and right now, and getting towards that 14-12 and getting towards a potential tiebreaker situation where they can play for that top 6 spot, where they can try and go over towards Dallas, Texas. So keeping that in mind, you have to be saying EnVyUs needs to have something under lock and needs to have something planned out, needs to have something in lock and key to be able to make sure that they are going to be able to win this round. With that being said, we're going to be moving into the game very soon. All 10 players are on the server, so we'll be right back very soon with some CSGO action. And we're live with game number 2 of Astralis going up against EnVyUs. I've always wanted to talk like that, and now I'm happy. That being said, let's see whether or not EnVyUs will be happy right now. They're starting off on the T side of Inferno. Definitely going to be an interesting... Definitely going to be interesting to see what strategies they're able to bring to the table. Their T side on Train was quite frankly a little bit atrocious, but they were able to redeem themselves on that CT side. The question is, will they need to go to that same length once again? I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that EnVyUs will be able to step things up, will be able to show up. Right now, Kirby is the man who needs to do that, because they look like they're going to be walking out from apartment side, finding some property for themselves as they're cruising by. It does look like they are actually backtracking though, and it will be EnVyUs who needs to hold the charge. He's not pushing up too aggressively just quite yet. He's just holding his way around that barrel's position. The cardboard will not be, well, it's not really cardboard, but it won't be protecting him regardless, as he will be forced to back himself off. And immediately you see the rotations coming out. That's Zipnix and that's Glaive already making their way over. The question is, will Zipnix be able to find one? Yes, he is. The smoke blooms a bit too late. And now EnVyUs will be able to back himself off. They've got 2 players over there. Scream planting behind coffins, going for the safe one. And it will be the 2 versus 2. Scream finds a headshot very quickly. Zipnix returns it and he says, my USP is better than yours, because he doesn't really have one regardless. 4 versus 2, and now with the bomb being planted, Sixer doesn't have any armor whatsoever. No HP either, so it seems one shot will take him out, and it will be down to him. 1 versus 4, and that will be unsuccessful. No surprises there, but EnVyUs, at least they get the bomb plant down, even if they aren't able to walk away with a pistol. Not going to be happy with that, but Inferno is a map where you can do quite a lot with just AKs in the 3rd round. Inferno is definitely one of those maps where you can get away with not having as much utility, and you can get away with being able to take those aim battles early on. It's not ideal, not at all, but it's doable is all I can say. But Astralis, they're ready for this. That's why they're going for the triple SMG. They say, you know what, EnVyUs, this is exactly what they did in the first game as well after they lost the T-side pistol half. This is what EnVyUs always does. And they're going to be going for that 3rd round buy. Nothing too surprising about that, but that's why you see the triple SMG coming out instead of the typical double SMG. Unfortunately, I accidentally kicked the my computer's power supply, and because of that, now I have to restart my computer, and then the Windows update started and everything, so a little bit of an unfortunate situation, but we're going to be reconnecting in very soon, hopefully. Just finding the GoTV IP once again. Oh god damn it, Windows. I don't care about you. We will be connecting into the game very shortly. Don't worry too much. We haven't missed all that much. That's a bit of a lie, but well, it's okay. You'll have to forgive me for that one, because you really don't have too much of a choice over here. Now, we're getting back into it. Inferno, last we checked in, it was, of course, it was almost time for EnVyUs to be able to eke out their first buy in the 3rd round. Depends on how exactly that went. To be able to determine the course of the game as we try and move into the game. Ah, okay, there we have it. 2-1 on Astralis. Oh, actually, EnVyUs managed to win their 3rd round, and Zipnix finds the shot through the smoke despite the bomb already. No, the bomb hasn't been planted just quite yet. That was the bomb planted. 4 seconds left. They will be able to get it down, right down to the wire, but never mind. EnVyUs with the CZ saves them in this round, and Kirby even finding that one last kill to make sure that they're doing some economic damage on the way out. And now, because of that, EnVyUs, they find themselves reset. And hopefully we will finally be live and things will be somewhat fine. Alright then. With that being said, EnVyUs do decide to force up immediately after. They're not going for any of the typical saves. They're not well, they're not going for what you would normally expect to see from them in a situation like this. They're not saving it all and maybe just going for some utility, trying to go for an execute. They're playing around those two AKs that they have saved up. Scream and Happy will try to find a few kills with those, but unfortunately, it doesn't really look like that will be happening just yet, as we see very aggressively pushed far forward. Device will be coming up from behind in second mid. Can he find them out over here? He's eking his way forward. It's a lurk and this could be massive. The question is, can Glaive finish him off? No, never mind. Glaive gets caught out with a grenade in his hand and Device gets taken down. Happy finds him. Dupree, the only man to get a frag so far, who almost gets a second as well. But Kirby, he's going ham from behind the cot. He's found two. Turns it into 2 versus 2. Keeps himself alive as well. And Zipnix pushed all the way through Banana. The only way they're getting into the B side is if Sixer doesn't get shot down, gunned down by Kirby in this situation. But he sees the foot. He sees the foot, but the bomb should be planted. If nothing else, EnVyUs should be able to get away with quite a bit of extra money for themselves as the incendiary grows out towards Graveyard. Kirby, he's ready to push through. Sixer gets taken down. That's a bomb. It will not be planted in Zipnix. He's able to capitalize off of EnVyUs being a little bit too slow in that situation. 4-1. And EnVyUs, now they don't really have the money from the bomb plant. They don't really have too much in their hands. And as a result of that, they will be forced to... Well, they will be forced to go up against the SMG of Dupree, which is going to be able to farm up so much money for them. Scream has not really showed up with the deagles or the pistols in general. I have to say, it's very unfortunate. We've seen some great highlight reel worthy clips from him in the past in these pistol rounds, but unfortunately this is not one of them. Device, beautiful shot onto Happy, just gets a little bit lucky through the smoke. As XMS is looking to find the duel with the P250, it doesn't look like he will be successful, and they're all just shutting them down. Headshots galore, as RPK is the last man left standing. He's looking to find a headshot of his own, but it will be Dupree to finish him off. So much money going into his bank. You already see him sitting at 6,400. And 5-1 Astralis. Well, they're still in a very good situation despite EnVyUs now having a fairly large amount of utility. The problem is that without Molotovs, it gets a little bit hard to flash out areas like Arc and just flash out the crossfire. But look at that! Look at the double peek coming through, shutting them down entirely. And yes, Dupree and Glaive are able to rebound and able to get 2 of their own, but it doesn't matter because the bomb is down and the rotation will be very, very late. Glaive, he needs to be able to find the man in the side. That's XMS. They've got a decent crossfire set up, but Sixer, he's the man trying to take the pressure away from him. Nice flashbang going in. Will not really be catching any one of them out, but he's managed to make his way over towards Cart, but it's a double smoke that will prevent them from doing too much. Will he be able to get the spray down over here? Needs to push forward. Almost gets it. Yes, he does. It's a 3-man. Sixer goes insane. Wow! Lovely stuff coming out from him. Astralis, they were able to get one round that could have changed the flow of the game by preventing the bomb plant, but EnVyUs, they rebound, and Sixer, what a beautiful play, just taking advantage of the smokes, and Astralis just getting sloppy and not trying to spray them down. Brilliant stuff, brilliant stuff. I'm going to be riding off of the high from that. And 5-2. EnVyUs have just been gifted a chance back into this first half. A way to be able to equalize their scoreline perhaps at 5. EnVyUs right now, he's going to be having his work cut out for him. As it looks like EnVyUs finally trying to hit the B site. They were able to successfully take control of it in the third round, but unfortunately, well, in the fourth round, sorry, but unfortunately, they weren't able to transition that forward. It does look like Happy is still on the lurk, though, as always. Dupree will be able to take him down, and with the 3 very quick kills coming out from the CT side, looks like EnVyUs will be finishing things off with 1 more under RPK. And now the pause comes through from EnVyUs. They've been reset, and despite Sixer's amazing clutch, the problem with that was he was the only player who survived. And in a... No, actually, Sixer might have gone down as well to the bomb plant. Let's check. No, Sixer did survive, but he was the only player to actually do so. And because of that, EnVyUs had to fully rebuy into the previous round. They already had a bit of a stumbling economy. And after that, it just seems like they will not be given the chance to be able to rack it back up, to be able to accumulate their wallets into a more favorable position. I really hope that they don't go for the force buy over here, though. With Sixer being as low as he is at 1600, it's going to be a very difficult situation for them. However, if they want to be able to pick up the AWP, then Sixer will have to go for a double save, double eco anyway. So in a situation like that, it definitely does make sense to go for the force buy. That's why we're seeing EnVyUs potentially trying to decide whether or not they want to do so, whether they want that AWP on Sixer, or do they just want to stick to the 5 AK strategy that they have been trying to go for so far. And it does look like it should be the AWP coming out now that they have chosen to go for the full buy. Sixer says that he needs it to be able to fight up against EnVyUs, and Sixer definitely was looking very comfortable on that AWP in the second half of Train. And if he's able to replicate that success over here, well, then Astralis doesn't really have too much that they can do to shut him down. Kirby, very early on, very aggressively over towards that B side, finds a shot. It will be and immediately backing himself off. Question though is, can they actually stop them from taking over this side right now? Because one player is very, very low. Happy will be able to find his way through with the Tech 9. Brings him down while he's trying to go for the reload. And it's already 4 players falling from the CT side. Zipnix will be able to find one and turns it into a 1 versus 2. But RPK, even though he only has a P250, will be the difference maker at this point. He's still on that side. Has got that crossfire completely established in Scream. He hears the jump. And RPK almost takes him down, but it's a 1 versus 1 now. Zipnix, the clutch king. Scream might be expecting him to be on top of the cart. Look at this. He's looking up towards the wrong angle, but no, he reveals his position, and despite a lovely play where he faked going on towards the cart, Scream is able to take him down courtesy of those few bullets that were fired out. Great stuff coming out from him and EnVyUs. They're able to successfully transition that force buy into a victory, and that's a big one because you see Astralis' money again. They're the ones who are at the verge of being reset now. They've got 2 deagles. Well, they've got 1 deagle and a 5-7 in the hands of Zipnix. And Scream, he's just hoping to get lucky over towards that B apartment side with the wall bang. Speaking of getting lucky, Happy gets very lucky as he is able to find the tracers of EnVyUs and uses them to shut him down entirely. Scream, again, trying for the wall bangs. Is mostly just messing up the wallpaper of the house, taking down its resale value a little bit. And the CTs are making their way back towards that A side, and look at how decisive they are. So far, Astralis, they've seen that EnVyUs seems to be preferring to hit that A side almost, pretty much almost always, other than the 4th round, which they did lose, and another round which they did lose, where EnVyUs shut them out completely. And now this might come back to bite them, because Zipnix, he's slowly making his way back with 40 seconds left on the clock. They finally realize that no, EnVyUs is actually hitting that B side, and despite that smoke coming through, RPK just pushes his way through it. The Molotov will be blocking out Xyp9x as well. Kirby might find 6 over here if he gets boosted up, and indeed he will, but he gets taken down in trade as RPK and Scream very quickly find 2 of their own. 4 versus 2, and Glaive now pushing through with a 5-7. Needs to be very careful, but he does quite jump through the smoke. Xyp9x left alone, and he will be taken down as Scream manages to get 3 kills in that round. Very crucial ones, all of them. And with that, Astralis' money is down the drain, and EnVyUs, well, they could be equalizing right now. Because Device will not have that AWP in the next round unless... Actually, no, EnVyUs doesn't even have one to drop over, so Device will not have that AWP in that next round unless he gets quite a few kills with the USB. And that automatically just takes down Astralis' firepower so significantly on this map. We've seen Device get some great plays. Oh, look at this. Sixer gets the wall bang. Kirby gets taken down to 39. Can be very deadly. But Device on that B side, we've seen how very effective he's been so far with the AWP. And unfortunately, without that in the next round, EnVyUs should be able to take this forward. And look at this. RPK opens things up. Xyp9x goes down, finds a second as well. It's a quick tap. And a 5 versus 3. But Device, he's found an AK to work with. Could very well take down RPK, and it's a 3 versus 3 then over towards that. Oh, look at this beautiful stuff. The spray down despite not having any armor. RPK doesn't connect with a single bullet. Now XMS being taken down from the back lines. He's only got 8 HP left. He thought he checked the angle, but it just wasn't quite good enough. 2 versus 3, but they've both got AKs, and they're saying, you know what, let's just save this into the next round. We don't have too much money to work with, and this will allow us to be able to get so much more. And if I'm not wrong, now Device can actually go for that AWP. Because he was able to get 2 kills from them for himself. That's another 600 in the bank. And that could be game-changing once again. This is a situation where EnVyUs, if they had been able to kill all the players, that would be potentially a 7-6 situation where they are still at an economic advantage that they're looking at it. As long as they're able to capitalize off of the inferior buy that Astralis was bound to have. But now you see Device, he's not actually, he is definitely going for the AWP. He throws the AK over towards Debris, so they will have a lot more utility to work with than previously expected as well. And look at this, they've got full utility practically. Yes, a little bit short on incendiaries, which is going to be problematic on that A side particularly. However, regardless of that, they're in a great situation to be able to take this round, but not anymore because Device gets taken down. The bloom from the incendiary allows RPK to connect with that headshot, and RPK has just been so spectacular with those so far. Another one for him. And it doesn't quite matter. The flashbang onto himself. Glaive is going to be kicking himself, but thankfully he's not going to be taken down just quite yet. Dupree, he needs to be able to get at least 2 kills and back himself off scot-free right now to have any chance at all in this round. Kirby is of course boosted up, but with one player on B side, RPK is just holding it. A minute left on the clock, and Astralis is perhaps starting to realize that RPK is still there. Glaive knows that he hasn't quite gone for the cross, but Glaive is the only man in B regardless. 50 seconds left on the clock, and Glaive is just so worried that RPK might be holding that angle, so he can't really back himself off into CT either too safely. The smoke now going out. Scream was the man to deploy that. Will Glaive be able to connect with a few shots? Doesn't look like it. 5 people left actually on the side of Envy, and immediately they're backing themselves off. Astralis say that they've had enough. They can't win this. They are going to end up saving their guns. And it's a great call from them, really, because they know that they won't have the AWP in the next round regardless of what they do. So now you save 3 guns, and perhaps you just try and eco up in the next round. Go for a stack onto one side with the guns, as Glaive gets very lucky, alive with 1 HP. But perhaps you go for a stack onto a site with the guns. Throw the pistols onto the other side, just try to keep the guns alive. And if you're lucky, well then EnVyUs will walk onto the stack and you will be able to walk away with the round. If not, then well, nothing too much lost as long as you're able to save those guns moving forward. Zipnix though, having 4,400, this might be a buy, and it's a great time to pause right now. Because Astralis needs to figure this out. Do they want to risk EnVyUs being able to close this one out 9-6 in the first half? Because if they buy up right now, then this will definitely be a very weak few buys coming out in quick succession. However, that being said, are they willing to concede the possibility of EnVyUs having a minimum of 7 rounds if they don't walk onto the stack? And remember, Device can always go for the Mag 7. Give that over to Kirby, trade that out. But instead, no, Dupree buys up the AWP, throws it over to his Device, and surprisingly enough, they have a fairly decent buy coming out because of that. The only real thing that's lacking is Zipnix, and he's got the UMP, which is a great gun to have regardless. Would have maybe preferred to see him pick up the Mag 7, which is very effective on these close range angles that Inferno has to offer. But regardless. RPK though, the game is all on him so far. He's managed to get 10 kills on the board. Almost all of them, well actually all of them being very high impact entry frags that have allowed them to win so many rounds so far. Scream finds it! And that's Kirby. Taken down immediately. It just seems to be the story so far. EnVyUs, their one taps have been so on point with both Scream and RPK. Just ripping them to shreds. It's so refreshing to actually see, as Zipnix will be able to avoid the flash and back himself off. Actually, not Zipnix, rather Glaive. Zipnix, of course, being the sole defender of the B site. And he will need to put up a very solid defense. Very soon, the smoke being deployed by him, and Astralis, they're going to be forced to fight up against this. But look at this, Zipnix is moving forward. He's thinking about moving into the smoke itself, but there's so much utility left in the hands of EnVyUs. Those Molotovs will be put to good use. The flashbangs completely blinding out the Danes. And Glaive, he's just ready with a pop flash. They need to rotate Device over. Device finally makes the call to do so. Would have been great to have him there a little bit earlier, but RPK moving forward. He's been fully flashed up by his own teammate. That will be the bane of his existence. Sixer finds one. Zipnix going down, but Glaive has managed to find 2 from his little angle. Almost gets a 3rd as well. And now it's all down to Device and Dupree. Both the Ds. Will they be able to get this? Device, go for the shot, Device. Doesn't quite go for it yet, but he will. Oh, look at that. Sixer is able to get the better of him through the smoke. Dissipation just favoring Sixer, unfortunately, but look at that. Despite a heroic effort coming out from Glaive, unfortunately, they're not able to close out the round, and EnVyUs, off the back of that, they will probably be able to take this 9-6, honestly. Assuming Astralis saves up in the next round. Well, they don't have to. They've got some money. They could buy up with the UMPs, and they've got a decent loss bonus as well. They could buy up in the next round with some UMPs and maybe a Mag 7. If you can't tell, I'm a big advocate of the Mag 7 on Inferno. And it does look like they have managed to find one final buy, but with that being said, how effective will that be? Device, he's got the AWP one more time. Can he find the early on frag with it? Doesn't look like it. EnVyUs, they've just been so good at making sure that they've been getting the entry frag every single time. Scream and RPK have been phenomenal. Both of them sitting at 10 frags. Both of them mostly having entries to their name. And Astralis, despite their very good earlier performance in the first 6 or 7 rounds, they just haven't been able to capitalize to the same extent. And now you've got the 4-player stack over towards A, because they realize that so far Envy has consistently found the entry frag on the A site, unless RPK goes on the lurk, which looks like that might be on the menu for him as well. But Device is the defender of the B site. And I don't think that he's going to be losing that one more time. Sixer. Ready to go for the execute, but the flashbangs coming in. The counter flashes are great from Astralis this time around, and 40 seconds left on the clock. They need to be able to shut this down. XMS has found his way onto the side, finds the kill as well, but it gets traded out. But Happy, look at him. He's found 2 of his own, and now it's a 4 versus 2. He jumps through the smoke, but it doesn't matter because Scream, he's on point so far. And he will continue to be the one-tap king for this map at least, as EnVyUs. They're looking to take this 9-6. Device will be allowed to save. No, never mind. Happy finds him, takes him down. Astralis are not given any semblance of mercy from the French. And this is troublesome. This is worrying because EnVyUs, if they're able to win this one, well then, Astralis, they might have to fight with them again in tiebreakers unless the head-to-head comes into play where EnVyUs will automatically win and go forward into the top 6. But this is a very interesting situation that they're finding themselves in. And they're feeling the heat. They're feeling EnVyUs breathing down their necks. And EnVyUs this time around, again, they're just playing a little bit further back. They're feeling that Astralis might finally want to get aggressive at the CT side. And I have to say, that's one thing that Astralis have not really been great at doing, is providing that CT side aggression. And perhaps that's where they need to try and step things up the next time after they've watched this demo. Perhaps that's where they need to be a little bit more creative. And look at that, Zipnix, that's what I'm talking about. The flashbang coming out from Glaive allows him to finally get that first kill. And that's RPK going down. That's a big kill for them to get. And Device and Kirby, they need to be able to find so many kills, and doesn't look like they'll be able to find any more than one. Dupree, last man on the A side before backup arrives, and backup is arriving, but it's not fast enough. He's managed to find one, but no. Happy jumping up will take him down regardless. It's XMS who's got the bomb down. Sixer with a no-scope at close range leaves Zipnix alone in a 1 versus 2. He's creeping forward. The Molotov will be blocking his path significantly, and Happy shuts him down. 9-6 EnVyUs. They're able to take the half. And the question is, what does Astralis have to bring to the table on the T side? I'm very quickly going to switch overlays because I need to change a few console settings to make sure that a few problems that arise when Counter-Strike does in fact restart. Oh, things are fine. We'll be right back very soon with the second half. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere.
Counter-terrorists win.
stanno molte, vanno a vicenda ciascuna al giudizio, dicono e ordinano e poi son due volte.
And we are back with the second half of EnVyUs going up against Astralis. EnVyUs already having upset Astralis on train. And it looks like they're in a great position to do so again on Inferno. RPK and Scream, they've been hitting shots like it's nobody's business. And let's see if they're able to do so again on that pistol round. Well, it's going to be Astralis leading the charge over towards that B side. Grenade will be doing some significant damage, but they're able to back themselves off. So XMS only cops about 8 damage to himself. Nothing too big. And not going to be too disappointed by that. Kirby, though, he's looking to get feisty. He's looking to get aggressive. Instead, backs himself off. And Astralis, they're doing what teams generally do on the pistol round. Pardon me, on the pistol round, just trying to get some map control, spread their wings a little bit and try and find that early on close range shot with the Glock. But doesn't look like EnVyUs has any intention of letting them get that. Bomb has made its way over towards that A site where Happy will be trying to shut it down. Glaive still has got possession of that one flashbang. That will be incredibly useful if he's able to get it down to the right place. Where's that smoke supposed to go? Glaive. Wait a second, I want to see where the smoke goes. Oh, okay, blocking out. Whoops. Okay. Really not sure what that's about, but hey, Twixter WWW is right there. But in the meanwhile, Zipnix has found 2 kills for himself. RPK trades it out. Kirby finds another as well. It's 4 versus 2. And GoTV is still bugged for some reason. Great stuff, finally. Scream with USB. The problem with his position is that he's very likely not going to check for Kirby, and Kirby should be able to find him, but never mind. Scream turns around and turns it into 3 versus 2. However, without the kid, this is not going to be possible for them. All Astralis needs to do is just hold their angles, wait for them to push out, and already there isn't enough time for them to be able to go for the defuse. At most, Scream can try and get some money for himself, and that's going to be all nice and well to line up his pockets a little bit. Saves his armor as well, moving into the next round. So if the CTs want to go for a force buy, then it's definitely possible, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. Scream can pick up a UMP if he wants to. I assume he wouldn't be going for the head armor regardless, just sticks to the, maybe just stick to the, no, he is. Chooses to invest an entire 1,000 into it, surprisingly enough. Normally, I would expect him to just stick to the Kevlar, maybe pick up a UMP, throw a pistol over towards Sixer so that he can go for the no-buy and go for the AWP in the fourth round. But instead he chooses to go for the deagle instead, and I don't particularly like that. He hasn't been very effective with that pistol so far, but perhaps finally it's time for him to show his true colors. He's been very good with the AK and its one-taps, but Sixer, unfortunately, he's going to have his way blocked off. RPK on the side. He needs to be able to shut a few people down. They haven't noticed him yet, but Device will take him down with that MP7. Glaive does the same. And the SMG is really coming into their own. Not a single player dead so far from Astralis. And they're backing themselves off. XMS and Scream, again, they want to save that Kevlar. They want to save that utility, the pistols, into the next round. And Scream would love to be able to pick up a gun from one of the fallen corpses. But look at that. Device goes down. Scream now holding the angle for another one. He needs to be careful, though. He's going to be brought down. They're coming in from all sides. Pulls out the deagle. Will not be able to connect with the shots just quite yet. The flashbang will not catch him out. Will he find one? No, he won't. It's to the chest. But unfortunately, that's not what Scream was looking for. 9-8. And EnVyUs, well, they're not able to pull out that forced by victory. But Astralis, they're looking good. 4 SMGs are maintained. Glaive, surprisingly enough, is going to be the man picking up the rifle. Not every day of the week that you see the in-game leader being the prioritized man, but Glaive has been having a great game so far, and he can definitely frag with the best of them. Happy trying to go for that quick headshot, but RPK will be the man to get it as always. Finds another one as well, and that's 5 versus 3. 6 keeping himself alive at 3 HP is going to be consequential. Dupree finds one though, and that will be the A side given over. The 4-man stack over towards B will prevail to some extent. They're able to retrieve 2 UMPs for their trouble, and that does make things a little bit more interesting moving into this retake situation. They're actually going for this. They're not saving those SMGs. They say they don't want any of that. They want to be able to have some rifles moving in, but Zipnik's already finding 2 right there. That makes things troublesome. That makes things nigh impossible. And RPK goes for the spray, finds it. It's 3 kills for him so far in this round. If they're able to get anything out of it, it's definitely due to him. And maybe just going for some exits over here as Sixa says, I don't need a silencer, as he will take them down. Dupree keeps himself alive. Sixa will go down. 9-9. And EnVyUs, they're able to get quite a few kills for themselves without any investment whatsoever, so that's quite nice for them. And unfortunately, the only guns that were really dropped were SMGs, with the exception of 1 AK. And that's where Astralis, now they go for the full buy. Dupree maintaining that UMP perhaps. No, Glaive now finally being the one to pick it up. 9-9, and if EnVyUs loses this one out, this may be reason to call for a tactical pause very, very soon. The AWP in the hands of Sixa is positioned towards that A side, not going towards B, where we saw Device having some massive impact in a few rounds. And Happy is just keeping that same old position over towards apartments. The problem with this is that Happy has always typically had the label being attached to him of being very easy to read. On the T side, he is almost always their dedicated lurk. This time around, of course, it was RPK, but generally that's the role he plays. And on the CT side, again, towards the apartments on the exact same position, not really changing things up too effectively. RPK in the pit, Happy on top of the railings, and they've got that crossfire going for them. A little bit unfortunate. Scream gets boosted up though. And this is where Astralis, if they throw out this smoke, they're not going to be able to utilize it to the greatest extent. That's why they're going over towards that A side instead. Dupree finds one. That will be Sixer. Down towards Arch, taken down. RPK throws out that anti-flash. Backs himself off. That incendiary will not be able to take him down. Dupree though will. As Happy trades it out immediately. Zipnik's trying to find the Frenchman, and he will be successful in doing so. XMS and Scream, again, the 2 players to save. Seems to be the story of the second half so far. But will Kirby allow them to do so is the question. Doesn't quite, well, does look like he won't have too much of a say in that, as XMS finds 2. And I'm out of water. Huh. Oh, beautiful stuff, XMS. Oh, that was lovely. Lovely stuff. Great shot coming out from him. The wall bang. Just knowing that Glaive would be in that position. Quick scoping him down. 3 kills coming out from him. Keeping the Astralis economy under lock and key. And EnVyUs now, they're going for a bit of a quasi buy, getting some money back down to 2,000. Sixer with the AWP is hoping to find a kill or so, or a kill or two, maintaining the same angle that he does at Arch. And Astralis have been very successful on their T side so far, and they're looking to continue that. 11-9 will be the scoreline after this, but the question is, can Sixer actually keep a hold of that AWP moving into the next round? Because that will allow them to buy so much more utility if he is able to throw a gun over towards a teammate. That's what will allow them to get a few more incendiaries, perhaps. And so far, Astralis, they've really been left to do whatever they want once the smokes have been deployed. The incendiary placement hasn't really been great for them just quite yet. Now the question is, what is Sixer doing? Sixer is just staying over towards that A site. Says, you know what, if someone comes, that's great. Otherwise, I will save up that AWP. Scream finds a kill for himself. Happy wants to push through with the 5 HP that he does have. The incendiary will be unsuccessful, courtesy of the smoke. And Zipnex, the flashbang, the smoke rather, being interpreted as a flash, and Screams managed to find another one for himself. Sixer took down Kirby, and now it's Zipnex in a 1 versus 4, and even the God of Clutch will not be able to get that one through. 10-10, and EnVyUs are able to take advantage of Scream's deagle finally. And Astralis, where they were looking to get that first 5-0, have found their economy reset instead. So the force buy is what comes out. And this is where it becomes so important that Sixer did, of course, get that 3k with the AWP while he was saving, because otherwise Astralis would have had money to go for another buy, and EnVyUs wouldn't really be in the clear to get a lead anytime soon. Device might be flushed out by this incendiary right now as well. Thankfully, it will not spread to him though. And Astralis, they're playing this in a very interesting way, with using Device as more of a lurk role and using Device to make sure that they are going to... Oh, where is this going? The same smoke as before to smoke off library, perhaps? No, this looks to be an arch smoke, if I'm not wrong. Taking control of Archway very, very quickly. RPK is the only man who can really stop this right now. Glaive is considering pushing through, but they don't really have flashbangs to spare. Dupree's found a deagle shot though, and that Sixer going down. The AWP will not be effective at all. RPK rotates around, brings it back to a 4 versus 4, and now it's all on Glaive to be able to find this quick shot. Happy RPK Scream. The scoreboard is lit, and it's all with blue. (11-10). Astralis, if you lose this round, that's where I expect to see a tactical timeout. And the discrepancy between Astralis and EnVyUs is huge. I mean, really, despite Astralis doing a decent job with getting the early on first frags, it's completely different from when RPK was doing it, because RPK was just completely monopolizing the map. He was terrorizing it. He was winning every single aim deal that there was, and Scream chimed in as well towards the end of the first half. And compare that to how Astralis is doing it, relying on utility. Yes, that's definitely a very effective way, but with EnVyUs' sheer firepower and decent utility usage, that's much more terrifying to be able to play up against when they're running on all cylinders like they are right now. But The question is, will they be able to continue to do so? And Scream looks like the answer is going to be a big yes, as he's found one, goes for the second, will not connect with it, but the flashbang while he retreats will allow him to do so. Now it's all on Happy. Unfortunately, he gets taken down immediately, and Sixa, trying to reclaim that frag, will not be able to do so. The Molotov will force him to push forward aggressively into the crosshair of Glaive. And Zipnix, he's smoked off Scream, he's smoked off XMS, and the two players who managed to save practically every single time might be doing the same. Might be doing the same indeed. But Device, he's having none of it. 3 kills for him in that round. Astralis reset EnVyUs. But the money isn't gone just quite yet. The money's still very, very solid, especially with XMS, Scream, and Happy. Well, basically everyone except for RPK has got more than enough money to work with. However, EnVyUs, if they lose this one, that story will change completely. Astralis will be in such a great position to be able to take it forward. And I have to say, the previous round, I don't really approve of Sixer's decision to move forward and isolate himself from his teammates once the Molotov was thrown. Besides Glaive already being positioned in a great spot to take him down, it's also just a simple fact that you have no backup. As an AWP, you probably want to back off and wait for your teammates to get there. Admittedly, you could say that the bomb might be being planted at that time. He was trying to get the bomb planted down and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's a massive risk to take, and playing it safe would more likely than not have given them a higher chance to win that round. You can boost over the smoke that was thrown later on as well. You can try and find that player over towards apartments. There's a lot of things you can try and do with a few more teammates there. Unfortunately, he doesn't wait for them. He gets taken down. And because of that, EnVyUs are in a very difficult situation if they don't win this round. Have to say though, Happy has not been doing a great job over towards that B side on the CT side so far in the second half. Can't really remember him getting any kills whatsoever, to be perfectly honest. And putting him in such a key role where he has to shut down the apartment side almost on his own is not really working out for them. EnVyUs, perhaps, if things aren't going well for them, perhaps they want to switch up their roles a little bit, get a bit flexible. Maybe put RPK in that spot and let Happy be the man setting up the crossfire with Sixa and his AWP. Scream smoke does go a little bit off. I think that's got a gap. Yep, that's got a gap in it. Device can't take advantage of that though with the angle that he has. Happy's just getting ready to smoke out apartment, back himself off now, and I like this decision from him. He's recognizing that things are a bit hard, and Glaive, courtesy of a misthrown smoke, he will actually go down. Zipnix gets tagged down to 12 HP. Dupree moves forward, tries to go for the quick one-tap. Sixer is holding the angle, so if Dupree goes for this peek, oh, never mind. Sixer unscopes at the wrong time, and now Dupree, will he be able to get this shot through? Doesn't look like it. Yes, he does. Happy, in the meanwhile, has managed to find 3 kills so far. I talked about him needing to step up or rotate out, and it looks like he's chosen to do the former. Dupree picks up the bomb, finds 1 kill, can't quite connect with the spray down. On to the second. EnVyUs, they're trading rounds, and the problem with that is that they're not really trading them very effectively. They're not really keeping too many players alive. You've got Happy and Scream. Yes, they've got a fair chunk of money. But Astralis, they're not doing too badly on the economy side themselves. On the T side, it's a lot easier and it's a lot more forgiving when it comes to your economy. So Astralis, if this trade game continues with the rounds, then they are the ones who will come out on top. And this close towards the end of the second half, you can't afford to let that happen. EnVyUs needs to start stringing together these rounds. And the B side, again, Astralis looks like they want to move over, but it's not really been very effective for them so far. Their utility is fairly lacking. They can't use the Molotovs to try and flush out oranges or second oranges. Scream is boosted up, so the smoke will not really be doing too much to him. I'm interested to see when they do choose to go in. It does look like Scream should be able to shut them down. Indeed, he sees one, can't get the spray down. Scream, what are you doing? Kirby finally goes down. He even delivers a few shots into his teammates' back. XMS is regretting boosting him up at this point, but Scream now wants to push through the smoke. He's made the rotation over, but he reveals his position. Perhaps not the wisest of decisions. Sixer, no AWP this time around, only the UMP to work with in a 4 versus 4. Astralis have taken complete control over the side, and they're in a great position to be able to take this round away despite the numbers being equal on both sides. Dupree will be able to bring down Scream, but he gets traded out immediately after. Zipnix finds another one. Could be a third, indeed it is. But Sixer comes out big. The device, he's going to reveal his position. Does Sixer have enough time? Doesn't look like it. And the bomb will be defused. He's got the time! 13-11 down to 0.1 seconds. What a performance from Sixer so far. Really just managing to save the game for them with the 3K that he had on the terrorist side onto the bomb diffusers. And this time around, just 3 more kills to make sure that they can get the defuse with only 0.1 seconds left on the clock. That is some great play coming out from him. And Device now pushing through, almost takes down Scream right now. Indeed, actually, Kirby will be able to take him down. XMS trying to go for the double spray. Will find one, but the second will be able to retrieve that M4, move forward. And is ready to push through. Dupree has got that deagle shot. And suddenly Astralis looks like they might be the ones to be coming out on top. Oh, never mind. Sixer, what are you doing? Pulls out the P250. Could be big. Zipnix. His flashbang will not be doing too much. They're backing off. They say, we've got the numbers advantage. We've got control of the A site. And will Dupree be able to shut him down right now? Yes, he will. Happy goes down. Sixer. Can he pull out one more 1v3 out of the bag with the AWP? Doesn't look like that's possible. Might just want to save. With the money being as low as it is, that will be the decision he makes. But I talked about how the CTs can't afford to trade rounds. This is exactly the problem that you face when you can't string these rounds together. One eco, one mistake, and it's gone. Zipnix is taken down. The smoke might be allowing him to buy some more time for himself. The flashbang will not be very effective. He's just sitting in the smoke, and Glaive realizes that they're trying to close in on him, but he's managed to find his way out through the back line. Sixer. What an absolute legend he is. This performance from him, it's spectacular so far. Really a pleasure to watch. And again, we're going to see EnVyUs stacking up probably on the B side. Throw Sixer on the A solo. Maybe, actually, never mind. Keep Sixer on the B side. RPK instead will be the tank on the A side. Sixer pushing forward aggressively. Kirby is not going to walk into his crosshair. Not yet, at least. Connects with a shot into Glaive, but it's through the wall, and Glaive will be safe. Four people left on Astralis, with 2 of them being incredibly low right now. EnVyUs still has a chance of being able to take this round away if Happy can find a few more kills, and indeed he can. Zipnix though, 13 HP on him. If he can't take down Happy, then this round is practically lost for them. Dupree is the only man who's even close to healthy, and now Happy, he's got his hands on an AK. Does look like he's more inclined towards saving it though. If he just held that angle a little while longer, would have allowed him to be able to take down Xyp9x instead. Now Xyp9x might be able to be the victor in this duel. As Happy is desperately trying to save, desperately trying to find some some exit frags. And Device might give him just that, as he will be taken down. Xyp9x all the way backed off. Will reveal himself as well. And Happy, spectacular job by him, honestly. dupreeh being the only man left alive, he saves an M4 into the next round. And the money on Astralis will be brought down very, very low because of that. And that means, again, if EnVyUs is able to win a single round, they should be able to take this game away, or at least take this to map point. And that's where Astralis will be fighting for overtime. That's where things get very tricky for the Danes. Once again, Astralis is looking over towards that A site. Sixer though, he's the man holding the charge. Not holding the angle, preventing the charge. RPK finds another from the exact same spot that he was before. Sixer, it's a second for him, and it will be a third as he sees the shadow. But Glaive, he dodges a no-scope and will be able to move forward into the loving arms of RPK as he smothers him to death. 14-13, and EnVyUs off the back of one AK, an AWP, and an on-fire Sixer are able to take it to 14-13. And Astralis, without any money, they need to decide, do we go for the force buy? Because they've got 6,000 on dupreeh, they've got 3850 on Device. That is a handful of UMPs for everyone. And if they don't buy in this round, then the next round they will not be able to go for a proper buy either. It's going to be a broken buy. So EnVyUs, off of that one round, they may have just won the game. And who would have thought Inferno, we would have EnVyUs on the verge of removing Astralis from the top 6 of the EPL, depending on how the tiebreaker system, etc. is, of course, formulated. And I have to say, it all comes down to RPK in the first half, and second half, it's been a game for Sixer, completely and utterly. Oh, Scream, he's been run boosted up forward. He's going to be able to go forward very, very quickly, and this, well, decides not to use that. Could have been interesting if that was Sixer instead, though. Device shoots his own teammate, unfortunately, down to 66. That's Glaive. Already not feeling too happy with only a Tech 9 to his name, and Astralis did, of course, choose to buy up. It's not a horrible buy, but EnVyUs are definitely going to be kicking themselves if they lose to this. Smokes are being deployed on Astralis. They're just waiting things out. Device gets very lucky that he doesn't get sprayed down by Scream. Happy still over towards that A side. They've only got 2 players here. They need to go for the rotations very soon. XMS finds one. Can Scream find more though? He's got one of his own. Backs himself off. The smoke will allow him to do so, but the spray through the smoke will not be successful just quite yet. He's trying to go for the wall bang, but it doesn't really matter. 4 versus 3. The numbers are in favor of EnVyUs, but they don't know where Glaive is, and that will be the bane of their existence. Glaive finds one. Can he find the second with a Tech 9? He's holding the angle, but doesn't look like that will be possible. Happy turns it into a 3 versus 1. dupreeh edging his way forward. Can he prevent this bomb from being defused? The flashbang will say no. And 15-13, EnVyUs are in a prime position to secure a 2-0 victory over the best team in the world. Who would have known? Tech 9s all over the place. A UMP for Dupree. And Envy, they've got to be so happy. So incredibly happy. It is the final round, potentially. Astralis, they're looking to regain some honor. They've got to go for a show match versus Virtus Pro and E-League Studios very soon. They want their trip to America to consist of more than just one match, so they want to be in Dallas. They want to be in Texas. But will EnVyUs allow them that opportunity, or will EnVyUs take it away from them? 3 men at the B site. The incorrect read has been taken. They've got a lot of map control, but it doesn't matter because RPK, he's found one, will be traded out immediately. Dupree was being stopped so far by the smoke, but now he might be stopped by Scream instead. Never mind, Dupree is winning all the battles in the world. It's a 3 versus 3 and the rotations are coming out, but perhaps a bit too quickly. Because Kirby backs himself off, thinking of going towards that B side, but it's only a fake Sixer. Look at this, it's a double mind game coming out. Sixer needs to make his way in through very quickly. He's got the AWP holding the angle. Now he knows where they are. Will actually push through the smoke. What a bold play to go for. Sixer is hungry and he will be fed. Dupree's managed to get so many kills so far. Can he turn it into an ace? To secure this round, he needs to do so. He's got a UMP to work with, and this is, oh, look at this, a flashbang might catch both of them all out. Never mind, only catches himself out, and it will be XMS to shut him down. EnVyUs are in your top 6, most likely, depends on the rest of the games as well, but who would have known? They take it 2-0 over Astralis, and beautiful stuff coming out from them. Definitely did not expect that. They had the potential and they showed it in train. But definitely not the outcome that we were expecting in going into this game. And a lot of people will be very disappointed by the performance that Astralis brought to the table. But I have to say, EnVyUs, Sixer, RPK, they went insane in Inferno. And in train, we just saw them playing great fundamental CS, not really letting Astralis break onto the bomb sites properly. And things are looking up for them. The T side was incredibly effective from EnVyUs in Inferno. And the CT side, Sixer went insane. RPK and Scream kept their level consistent, and that's all that they really needed to do. Happy wasn't really showing up in the beginning on, and that's why Astralis seemed to be dominating their own T side so effectively. But then suddenly Happy starts hitting his shots over towards apartments. Suddenly things just start working in the favor of EnVyUs in every possible way, and EnVyUs, surprisingly enough, they 2-0 Astralis and ignored the score on the top right. I actually completely forgot that I had to change that. But regardless, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great evening of Counter-Strike. We're going to be live again in a few hours with Optic going up against Complexity. Should be a very fun game. Stay tuned. Well, don't really stay tuned. You should go away for now, but come back in about 3 or so hours and we'll be live again. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can follow me at GGTime on Twitter. And with that being said, peace out. I love how I say that every single time, expecting that I'm going to click the transition and it's going to be the best ending ever. But unfortunately, I always misclick and I never manage to do it right. This time I will though. Peace out.